And welcome to another episode of South Texas Crossfire. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMB with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Don Humberto Lozano Lopez. He passed away last year, but he is honored and venerated by us. And without him, this would not be possible. But of course, without God, none of this would be possible. And also my good friend Carlos Lopez, you guessed it, the Ted Turner of South Texas Broadcasting, and we thank him, all his radio stations and his television stations. Soon San Antonio once again rising like a phoenix from the ashes. Channel 21 there in San Antonio. We also have K Alamo, and we also welcome Alice and also Falfurias and Freer, On Time Warner, our signal expanding all the way up to Victoria. With me today, I have the distinct pleasure of bringing on our first guest, Rene Flores. He's running for the 347th District Court right here in Nueces County. Welcome. How are you, my friend?
Great, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Well, let me tell you, we had you on last time, and let me tell you, it was an interesting topic. If you recall, it was about the judge incident, about the spanking, and who better than a judicial candidate? Now, I know you can't talk about specific cases, the ground rules there. You have to follow the canons, but we're going to be talking about your goals and why you want to serve on the bench. But first, if we were knocking on somebody's door, we're knocking actually on 200,000 doors. You're knocking right now and telling them who you are and where you came from.
Okay, my name is, what I usually start off with, and I've been doing that actually, I just tell them my name is Rene C. Flores. I'm running for State District Court Judge, and I was born and raised here in Corpus Christi. I'm a graduate of Princeton University and the University of California at Berkeley Law School. I have over 19 years experience in all the areas the court handles, family, criminal, and civil matters. I'm a former chief of litigation for the county, and I'm a former assistant federal public defender. And I tell them I'm running to replace Judge Neville Gonzalez Ramos, who was made a federal judge.
Congratulations to her.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, outstanding judge. I've been before her many times, both in state court and I've been before her in federal court. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be the Democratic nominee who's attempting to fill her shoes.
Well, we've got an election cycle. It's a presidential cycle, but Nueces County is a strange times right now. We've got people from the last election we saw in 2010. We had, as Barack Obama, our president, said, a shellacking, where only about one or two Democrats won.
Yes.
This time, presidential cycles, traditionally the political tea leaves say more Democrats come out,
Yep.
Democrats have a higher chance of winning. But now you have crossover vote, and then you have the X factor, which is the Tea Party libertarians,
Yes.
and that have become essentially, who would have ever thought, a third party in the United States. Let's talk about politics a little bit. How are you trying to drive out the vote, and is the Democratic Party unified in your estimation?
I think the party is more unified than it's ever been. I think that once you suffer a shellacking like we did, the
Yeah.
party did in 2010,
Bad.
I think it makes people rethink how you've handled yourself, and the party has really been more unified than it's ever been before. But it's a balance. I mean, on the one hand, you want to get the base out, and the party is working hard to do that. But individually, I have to focus on the crossover voters, the independents, as you call them, because that's the trend here in Nueces County. And as a judge, you want to appeal to those voters because that's what a judge should be. A judge is supposed to be a nonpartisan position, even though we do run as a party nominee. And so I'm individually, my individual campaign is focusing more, obviously, on the independent and just trying to appeal to a broad base of people, but the party itself, I'm working with the party also to appeal to the base voters. So it's a two-pronged strategy.
Well, and you know, block walking, doing all those other things. Now, you know, some of the voters say, now look, you said it, you hit the nail on the head. Judges cannot be partisan. We take Judge Stith, for instance, who he was appointed by, you know, the Republicans pretty much. But, however, he's been a past criminal defense lawyer. You don't see that sort of strange politics mixing in. It's kind of like a plaintiff lawyer who's Republican. Phil Vela has Republican leanings, but he ran Democrat and won, and I think he's going to be our next congressman down there in my neck of the woods there in Allison in the Valley. So you're seeing this crossover sort of thing. When people say, what does it matter? if you're Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
When people ask you those hard questions and you're knocking on those doors and they say, what does it matter if a judge is a Republican or a Democrat? Why does it matter?
Yep, and that's an excellent question. And in fact, I have that on my website, which is about to go up. Does it matter if you're a Democrat or Republican? I think it matters to the voters. I get asked that question probably more than any other thing. People generally want to elect somebody that's most like them, and so if they have those leanings, that's one way they want to look at you. But not all the time. I mean, some people, you tell them, if you're a Democrat, they're going to tell you, I don't care what party you are. I go on the person. So it matters to a lot of voters. It matters to probably, I'm going to say, a good 80% of the voters, maybe out there, 70-80% of the voters. And then there's that 20% that just, it really doesn't matter. So it matters to the voters. I think it matters as a candidate because, I mean, I've been a Democrat all my life because I believe in the party principles. So I believe that if you're running just because you want to get elected or appointed, then, people are going to question that. But I myself, I've always been a Democrat, and I stand by my party. That doesn't mean it's going to affect my rulings. Justice should be blind, and I would be blind. I would show no favoritism to anybody, and it's going to be based on the law and the facts. And I'm going to look at each case carefully and meticulously, and I am going to decide based on the law and the facts, and give each case careful consideration, because that's what the public deserves.
Well, and look, it's a Monday morning. Let's go logistically, and I appreciate your vision on that, and we'll get to your campaign in a moment. But let's talk logistics. If you're a judge up there, say recently the Caller Times had an interview. We had a Judge Stith that's on there said that they're trying to sort of modernize the jury system. Okay, you've got packed parking lot, you can't even park. These people are, and jury system, it's a great system, but everybody's losing money, wages, time. Bosses are out a person that's working just to be on standby, and most of them say, I got to let it go home anyway. Okay, what would you do to try to modernize or help speed along the process of jury system? And that's a big deal every Monday morning.
Yes, I understand the frustration. Like I said, I'm out there knocking on doors, and I hear those complaints. I think there's this world that these lawyers and judges create that's separate from the other world, and sometimes there's a disconnect. And what happens is people don't fully understand the importance of the jury system and why even just showing up is important, even though you may not get picked. Because I know that's a big frustration for people.
Yes.
They say, I didn't even get picked. I mean, I spent all this time there and I didn't even get, that's the most frustrating.
500 people, it's a cattle call,
Yes. There needs to be more communication, more education to the public as to why it's important to have a jurors show up. I do commend Judge Stith on his program. I know he's going to be your guest later on in the show, and I do commend him on the program to cut down on the time, because that's very important. I mean, you've got people who are working or having to take care of children and or students, and having to show up and spend all that time there I know it's frustrating for them, and whatever we can do, these programs such as Judge Stith has implemented, I fully support them to cut down on the time that the jurors spend there. At the same time, we have to realize, of course, that a lot of people are not on the internet, especially your elderly. I mean, my parents who are in their 70s and don't own a computer and will never own a computer. So we have to accommodate them, and
that's right.
They don't have the internet, and I know that's a concern for some judges. Some people feel that, and I'm not saying it's true or not, but there's a feeling out there that some judges maybe have the jurors there for political reasons, and so they can show themselves and whatnot. And it shouldn't be that way. And whether it's happening or not, and I'm not going to say it is, there shouldn't be that appearance. And because I think appearance of propriety and appearances are as important as an elected official as
right.
the actual thing. And so going back to what you said earlier about being a Democrat or Republican, not to change the subject, but the fact to show no appearance of favoritism is important too. And the same thing with the jury pools. People should realize that it's an important thing for them to be there, but at the same time, they shouldn't feel like they're just sitting there and being neglected. Whatever we can do to minimize their time, such as the programs that David Stith has implemented, Judge Stith is implemented, I'm fully supportive of.
Well, and let me ask you, let's talk your campaign vision. What is your platform? I know you say, your slogan is because you deserve the very best. And what does that mean to you and that message you want to convey to the voters?
Well, I think I have the best experience for this position. Whenever you want to choose somebody as a candidate, or as any candidate for a job, for any job, you want to choose the person who's best qualified, has the most experience. I have over 19 years experience, like I said, in all the areas the court handles. Family, which is a very big part, as you know, Joe. Family law, civil law. I'm a former chief of civil litigation for the county. And also criminal defense. So I have all experience in all the areas, and I've tried cases to a jury in all the areas that the court handles. I've tried custody cases to a jury. I've tried civil cases. I've tried criminal cases. And I've been heavily involved in litigation, pretrial litigation. All the issues that come up in a district court, I've been involved in. And so I think the combination of that, my background, my education, and the fact that I'm from here, that I grew up on the west side, but I've lived on the south side. I have that diverse experience, that balanced experience. And that's what you want in a judge, somebody who's fair, who's balanced, just like the scales of justice. And I have that diverse background that people should look for, I think, in a judicial candidate, someone who can relate to the people. Because when you come before a judge, let's face it, the law can only do so much in many situations. And it's important to have somebody there who can relate to the people who are there, who can say, I understand where you're coming from. I came from that kind of background, but you can do better, if whatever situation that you are. If you're, for example, criminal defendant, somebody who comes from that type of background. I grew up in a strict home, but yet I grew up in a tough neighborhood also.
So if you have if there are drug charges, first-time offender, are you in favor of giving them pretrial diversion or a diversion court?
Well, the law says that if it's a first-time drug offender, you have to give them probation. If it's a first-time drug offender, you have to. That's what the law is. So I'm going to follow the law, and that's what we got to do. And I think the presumption is because they're nonviolent offenders and it's their first time that they should be given a chance. And it's not my decision whether I should follow the law or not. That's what the law says, and that's what we have to do.
Well, and the campaign number is 888-5671.
That's correct.
If they want to get involved, yard sign, or get involved with your campaign, 888-5671. And what is your website?
Website is coming up this weekend. We keep our fingers crossed.
But I'm sorry, you have Facebook already.
At Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
Okay, so absolutely. Would it be /Facebook/Rene C. Flores?
Elect Rene C. Flores.
Elect Rene C. Flores. And see, please go ahead with your
website is www.electrenecfloresjudge.org.
30 seconds, knocking on the door. Once again, they're saying, okay, it's a toss-up. We like the person that's there, but we like you too. It's going to be a toss-up when we go in there and push the button. Talk to it, brother. What are you going to tell the voter?
I'm going to tell the voters that I have the right experience, the broad range of experience, the breadth of experience to be the best judge. And in our system, the people get to choose their judge. It's not strictly appointed. It's not appointed. It's the people get to choose. And so the people got to make their choice. And I'm the best qualified, I believe, and the most experienced in all the areas that the court handles. And I believe I have the experience to be fair and balanced, the background to be fair and balanced and trustworthy. Being someone from the community who has contributed, and we haven't talked about my community experience in being involved in the community also. And
you've worked with children and the elderly?
Absolutely. I was on the chairman of the Neighborhood Centers of Corpus Christi, which provided subsidized child care for low-income people and programs for the youth. And I led the effort to build a new high school on the west side of town.
Well, I want to thank you for coming by. It's 888-5671 is the number to call. If you want to get involved, that's 888-5671 for Rene C. Flores. And it's elect Rene C. Flores for judge.com?
www.electrenecfloresjudge.org.
.org, sorry. And we'll have that coming up. And if you can give that information to Diamond Dave, we'll have it pulled up. Rene C. Flores running for judge, and his campaign slogan he's running on, you deserve the best. We're going to be back with Judge Stith. Stay tuned.
Have you been arrested or are potentially facing criminal charges? You need a trial attorney who is well-versed in the courtroom. Joe Flores has handled hundreds of criminal cases and many of them to trial. Joe Flores can provide you with competent representation to protect your constitutional rights in state and federal court. Joe Flores can help if you have been arrested or facing criminal charges. The law offices of Joe Flores. Equal justice for all.
Hi, this is attorney and board-certified nurse practitioner Joe Flores on behalf of Vasquez Flores Home Health. Nursing homes have their place, but having care in your own home is very important. Call today for more information. Backed by over 20 years of experience, registered nurse Priscilla Vasquez can answer your questions about home care. Call 881-9922, that's 881-9922 today.